Chapter 32. I immediately start running towards home, school bag slung over my shoulder. Suddenly I'm on the ground, hands scraped and pants soaking wet, and I struggle to get up. I assume my fall is due to the wetness of the paving stones, until it takes 3 attempts to return to my feet. My thoughts are hazy.
That cider affected me more than I thought.
The rain is pouring down now, but it doesn't seem to be doing much to quell the fire. The blaze seems to have grown bigger since I first saw the hints of it outside the tavern. As I continue once more towards home, I decide on a slow jog, hoping to keep my feet. It seems to take hours before I jog onto the street where my house sits. A block away, the chapel comes into view. When I look next to it, my worst fears are confirmed. The fire had been raging in our house. Now, nothing but the blackened back wall remains. I stop half a block from my house, feeling completely devastated, as well as nauseous. I double over, emptying my guts all over the sidewalk. The alcohol burns my throat just as much on the way back up. After my stomach has emptied, I straighten myself and look once more at the remains of the house that I've called home for all of my life.
And my father before me, and his father before him.
The thought of father brings a pang to my heart. I can't comprehend how any of my family could have survived if the house didn't. I slowly walk closer to the people gathered in the immediate area of the house, and notice that the chapel is completely untouched. Though it had been separated from our house by perhaps 2 meters, it didn't catch fire. It's locked up tight with lights out, as it should be in the middle of the night. As I near the murmuring crowd, I look from one face to the next, still hoping to see signs of my family. Perhaps it's the dim light of the streetlights that obscure their faces, but none seem familiar to me. Only now do I realize how little I know of our surrounding neighborhood and the people who live here. Everything I loved and held dear was in that house. Everything save the bag still slung over my shoulder, which I hold onto tighter as I come to this realization. My sight becomes obscured by the tears that begin flowing down my face, and I turn away from the crowd, slowly walking away from them. Away from the ashes of my home, of my family. Vaguely, I hear someone calling my name from behind, but I don't recognize their voice. I quicken my pace, jogging now to escape the nightmare behind me. I jog for an immeasurable period of time. I'm numb all over, and not from the rain. If anything, the frigid bite of the rain is a welcome relief. When I nearly stumble again, I slow to a walk. I give little thought to anything else but walking, afraid I'll fall to pieces if I stop moving and turn my thoughts to the painful reality of my present situation. I continue walking, totally oblivious to where I'm headed. Suddenly, I realize how incredibly thirsty I am, so I stop under the awning of some sort of business and pull out the water bottle from my bag, draining half of it in one go. I return it to my bag and step out into a rain that has decreased to little more than a mist, similar to how it was before I stepped foot into the Grey Lobster. The next time I'm aware of my surroundings, I notice I'm in the harbor area off the edge of the east quarters. Finally, I stop walking, unable to keep myself from falling to the dock below, scraping my hands and knees. I mold myself into a sitting position and allow my legs to hang over the side, dangling above the surface of the water below. I look out over the ships in the harbor area, absently wondering how many were constructed by Morrels's shipbuilder. As I sit and take deep breaths, the reality of my situation fully hits me for the first time.
I'm alone. My family is gone, and I have almost no one to call friend. What will I do now? I had a future that was certain, If only I had been grateful enough to accept it. I had a loving family and a respectable apprenticeship, but I had to go and desire more for my life. Perhaps if I had been thankful for my family instead of wishing for more tonight, I would have been home and could have saved them.
This stops my thoughts until I answer myself.
Or perhaps I would be dead along with them.
Then I remember what Mother had told me on more than one occasion over the past few years.
Don't apologize for who and what you are, Corban. We may think we know what's best for you, but only the Creator knows the purpose He's created you for.
As her words echo through my thoughts, I look out over the water to the east and see the dark sky there turning a slightly less deep purple, signaling the coming of dawn. As I ponder the beauty of the coming sunrise, I'm reminded of Colette.
Of course, I'm not alone in the world. I have Colette and her family.
That thought is quickly followed by the memory of our last conversation days before. It clearly pained her to be with me towards the end, as we both struggled between our love for one another and the reality of who we were. Her words also echo through my mind.
What do you want, Corban? You won't be satisfied until you find who you are in this world.
Are those last words really her words? Or is it my own conscience talking to me? Or perhaps the spirit, urging me to finally go out into the world and discover my purpose?
As these thoughts flit across my consciousness, I gradually become aware of sounds coming from one end of the harbor, sounds of people calling out to one another.
You won't be satisfied until you find who you are in this world.
I want to know the world, experience it, not just learn about it. Well, what better way is there to experience the world?
Before I have time to consider my actions, I have stood up and started walking towards the din of activity. As I follow the sounds along the dock, I can clearly see that the sounds are of a ship being loaded in the dim light. I see a man standing at the foot of a long plank leading from the dock up to the ship, occasionally consulting a clipboard in his hands. As I approach, he looks up, eyeing me appraisingly with a frown.
"And what might you want, young fellow?"
I clear my throat, hoping to sound confident.
I seek passage on your ship, or if such is not possible, directions to another ship on which I might travel.
His frown deepens.
"We don't provide free services."
I understand, sir. I don't have much in the way of funds, but I do intend to work for my passage, if such terms would be agreeable. All I ask is passage, food, and a bunk in return.
"And where might you be headed?"
I don't know if I could say yet, sir. All I know is I'm not the man I'm meant to be, but I can't find myself here.
The man laughs, but not in a rude, derisive manner. All the same, I find myself flushing with embarrassment.
"And you think you'll become the man you're meant to be out there?"
Yes, sir.
My reply is even, as I confidently return his gaze.
"Well, I'd take you on just so as I can see if you actually find what you're looking for. For better or worse, it's not my decision. I'm simply first mate. The captain would have to see you to determine one way or the other. If you'd come with me?"
He gestures up the gangway before beginning to ascend. I follow carefully, determined to keep my footing. Once we reach the deck, we turn to the right and walk up a flight of stairs, approaching a woman wearing a three-cornered hat in the dim light of pre-dawn.
"Captain Hansen?"
Yes, Biggs. Who do we have here?
"Captain, he says he would like passage in return for work. He's not got a destination, but says he must find himself, and he can't do such here in Barcino."
He can't keep from grinning at his summarization.
Is that right, young fellow?
I nod in response. She walks a slow circle around us, appraising me from the top of my head to my shoe-clad feet.
And what are your skills, young lad?
I hesitate, mind still feeling slightly fuzzy.
I have a fair hand for writing and drawing. I sing well and know music. I have little experience in cooking, but have been told I'm a natural at it. Learning new things is one of my greatest joys in life. Captain,
I trail off, realizing I have nothing else to add.
Well, we don't have much use for any of that. Our cook, Hayes, is a fine cook himself, and we often have other clients on voyages that entertain us with music. As for writing and drawing...
She pauses, shrugging her shoulders uncertainly. I'm quick to add,
I follow directions well, ma'am, and can learn most anything quickly. I'll work just as hard as any other here to have a chance to join your crew. I don't give up easily, and I'm honest. How many others could you give such a recommendation for? Truly, Captain?
She continues to return my stare for a few moments before breaking out into an easy laughter, just as the first mate had.
What's your name, lad? And how old are you?
My name is Corban, and I turned 16 years just yesterday.
Well, Corban, if you're honest about your skills, I'm inclined to welcome you to my crew. As long as you prove your worth, your recompense will be a bunk with the crew and food. Perhaps, in time, you'll see a small share of the profits. If things don't work out, you'll be dropped at whichever port I see fit. Do we have a deal?
Honestly, I hadn't expected more than that. I extend my hand.
Yes, Captain Hansen. Can I be honest, ma'am?
Please do, Corban, and continue to be.
I take a deep breath.
I lived with my family until yesterday. I went out to hear some music and have a drink last night. When I returned home, I found my house burnt to the ground, along with my family. I'm still feeling the after effects of the cider, since I've never had a drink until last night.
Captain Hansen fingers her smooth chin.
I see. We set sail this evening, near sunset, as soon as we've finished loading and have our other passenger aboard. In return for some water and a hunk of bread now, give me 2 hours of work under our mate here. Then, you'll have the remainder of the day to rest in your bunk and take care of whatever else you need.
My head's still dizzy. I have little choice but to agree. I just hope I can make it even 2 hours before I collapse.
That's more than fair, ma'am. Thank you, and you won't be disappointed.
Right. First Mate Biggs will show you where to go. Carry on.
She turns away to another crew member, leaving me standing with the first mate.
Right. Let's get your pack stowed, get you that bread and water, and we'll see where you'll be most useful for these 2 hours. This way.
He turns around and leads me down the stairwell. We reach the bottom and turn left into an aperture to find another stairway, this time descending into the bowels of the ship. We descend to a level that divides the ship in half. We continue into the right half, to find a room filled with hammocks hanging from the ceiling, most containing items such as sheets or packs. He leads me to a far back corner where an empty hammock hangs.
You can stow your pack here for now. Everyone will be busy for most of the day, so you shouldn't need to worry about leaving it here unattended.
I nod in response, pulling my shoulder strap over my head and setting my bag onto the hammock. I feel the pocket of my pants to assure myself that my few remaining coins have stayed where they were from the night before. He leads me back to the stairs, but instead of ascending, we turn to the right to find that the other half of this level is a dining and kitchen area. He gestures to the first table, so I sit as he goes into the kitchen to speak with the cook. Biggs returns with a cup of water and a hunk of bread. I've half finished both before I realize my head is clearer. Upon finishing, I feel almost completely restored, silently vowing that it will be a long time before I touch an alcoholic drink again, if ever. With the guidance of Biggs, I place my cup in a plastic bin where others have been returned, then follow him topside. There, we find that a dockside winch is methodically hoisting crates and boxes onto the ship. From there, the items are carted onto a platform that lowers them down into a cargo hold a level below the bunks and dining area. As Biggs explains my first duty on board the Hispaniola, I watch as the sun peaks above the sea. I am to assist a ship's clerk in keeping an accurate inventory of the goods received and checking them against the goods expected for this leg of their trip. He hands me a clipboard containing a checklist, where I'm to write in the name and amount of each good as he calls the names out to me.
I did say I had a fair hand for writing.
2 hours later, I stumble into my designated hammock, immensely grateful that Biggs had earlier assigned me a mental, rather than physical, job. I have no thoughts after that before drifting off to sleep.